A few years ago, there was a lot of talk of the Supreme Court taking up certain cases. And throughout that time, most of the dialogue was just around this idea that the Supreme Court didn't take up Second Amendment cases. And then last year, they took up the New York Rifle Pistol Club versus Corlett, or it was changed to Bruen. And that particular case was a landmark case. It changed everything. It essentially said that not only do you have the right to own a gun, but you have the right to have one on you in public. And it felt like the Supreme Court was in a very, very promising direction. And what we've seen, well, then they agreed to take up another case for this year, which had to do with past priors, preventing you from being able to have firearms. But what we're seeing is they've kind of just been like rapid firing their opinions on so many different cases. For example, the Missouri case, which just happened 2 weeks ago. You know, in the state of Missouri, we had the Second Amendment Preservation Act, which said that the federal government didn't have a right to come into our state and say, we're going to infringe on your Second Amendment rights. Well, of course, the federal government sued the state of Missouri, and the Supreme Court immediately put an end to what Missouri was doing here. And that one really caught me off guard. Now they're taking up cases quickly about the White House's ban on certain firearms. And we've done videos on all these. That just happened last week. Now they're taking up this case that we just talked about past priors preventing you. But in addition to that, they're also reviewing whether it's legal for bump stocks to be banned. They're just taking on these cases quickly, like just bam, bam, like rapid firing Second Amendment opinions. The problem that I'm having is so far this year, the first two have gone anti-Second Amendment. And that is what caught me off guard was, a year ago, they weren't taking any Second Amendment cases. Now they took one, but they gave their opinion on three others, all within a month of this new session. And I think what we have to do is kind of open our eyes like, well, why the turnaround? Why was it they were very pro-Second Amendment last year, and they seem to be anti-Second Amendment this year? What is this? And I believe a lot of it is the scrutiny that they're getting. They're listening to public opinion, and as a result, they're changing their own view of what the law and the Constitution says. And that's a huge problem because they shouldn't care what public opinion is. They should just care about what the law is and what the Constitution says. And this is really, in my opinion, the big problem. We'll see with these next two how they turn out. But so far this year, like at first I thought, oh, this is great the way they're voting. But so far this year, it's gone terrible every single time. So we'll continue to watch everything the Supreme Court does in regards to the Second Amendment. But right now, 4 cases just in the last month. They're hearing one, and they're giving their opinions on the other 3. And this is not going well for the Second Amendment so far. So any thoughts or insight, especially that insight, definitely put that below. I would like to take a moment and say that most people who watch this channel are not subscribers to the channel. Please take a moment and hit that subscribe button. It greatly increases the algorithm and our ability to get our messages out. But the most important part of this channel, we take prayer requests. So please don't ever hesitate to send that in. Thank you for watching this episode of God, Family, and Guns. And as always, love God, love your family, and love guns.